Hopefully he could just fix a couple of little things he has, like with his shoulders. And honestly, he's a threat for that title. He really is.
And new Olympia champion, Hadi Shupan.
Hi guys, welcome back with the Mr. Olympia 2022 complete lineup results of 28 contestants. Certainly this is one of the greatest Mr. Olympias of all time, so let's dive into it. From Brazil, Vitor Bofi has made his debut in Olympia, although he needs more size, but his shape and conditioning was impressive. He was out of top 15. Italian sensation Andrea Presti is certainly improved from last year Olympia, but he needs more mass in his lower half to match up with his very wide upper frame. But the lineup was very tough this time. He was fighting in the last call out with his fellow Italian bodybuilder Andrea Muzzi, who arrived at Olympia stage very first time. He qualified through point standings, which means he did not win any pro show, and he had to compete at least in 8 pro shows to get enough points for stepping on Mr. Olympia stage. Theo Logari from France also had his first arrival in Olympia. He was also in 5th, which was last call out, so he would be taking between 25th to 28th place if judges awarded places to all athletes.
Break! We've gone finished business, my guy.
Did you say brick?
You talking?
I don't talk to people in the third call-outs.
You've never stood next to my best. Friday night, it's gonna happen. Friday night, I'll break you down.
So Blessing Awodibu, aka the Boogeyman, had to settle out of top 15. We know he wanted to be in first call out, and he had himself at least at 3rd place, which was obviously very unrealistic expectation, but I think he could be mixed in the top 15 if he brought his Indie Pro package, where he dethroned 14th place finisher of 2022 Mr. Olympia, Charles Griffin. I believe he just could not peak well this time, which led him struggling in the 4th call out, so technically Blessing was fighting between 19th to 24th place. But wish him the best for his upcoming shows. Dr. Muhammad Al Nassour from Jordan has made his debut in Olympia under coach Chris Acito's supervision. He has some very impressive shots like front double bicep shot with very deep vacuum, which is highly appreciable. I just think his stand was not perfect, but overall he was very impressive. Egyptian bodybuilder Mohamed Shaban has brought very similar physique this year conditioning wise, but he looks slightly fuller and heavier this year, mainly from his upper half, which has improved the balance of his physique this year. He was also out of the top 15. Ukrainian rising star Vlaso Urushko has finally made it to the Olympia. His presentation could be little better, but it has surely improved compared to his previous performances, and overall he has showcased an impressive physique on his debut. The only athlete of coach AJ Sims in Men's Open Olympia this year, Joel Thomas, has also stepped on Olympia stage very first time, and he was in the 4th call out. He had some difficulties this year, but he has made very outstanding transformation in 18 weeks for his debut in Olympia. Tonio Burton was in 4th call out, standing next to Vlad, Muhammad Al Nassour, Shaban, Joel Thomas and Blessing Awodibu. It was his first Men's Open Olympia contest. Last year he was at 10th place in 212 Olympia. He has huge potential, and surely we will see some significant improvements in Tonio next year.
Well, 2020 I was in the first call out, so that's a goal to get back in that first call out again.
Hakeem Williams wanted to be in first call out this year, but again he could not nail his conditioning. He could not bring the dry and crisp look which he had to bring in order to crack top 6 or even top 10, and I believe mainly his conditioning forced him finishing outside the top 15. This year, Antoine Wyant went through some serious setbacks. He had some injuries and critical health complications which did not allow him competing, but he did manage to qualify and he presented an impressive physique, but this year's very tough lineup did not let him cracking top 15. One of the best bodybuilders from UK, James Hollingshead, also had to settle outside the top 15. He does not have the best structure, but he is very dense and thick. He was in 3rd call-out, which means he was fighting between 13th to 18th place, and outside the top 15, James is the only contestant who got 1 point better score, so we can presume he was taking 16th place. Last year, Justin Rodriguez had more fullness and size with 8th place in the show, but this year he is sharper, more conditioned, and he still managed to be in the top 15 in this very tough lineup. This year, Charles Griffin has made a tremendous progress. His midsection is his main weakness. He does not have really well-built abdominal muscles, but hitting the vacuum has really enhanced his overall look, and he has certainly transformed his weakness into his strength, which led him finishing at 14th place. Patrick Johnson and his coach aimed to crack top 6 in his first appearance in Olympia, but he finished taking 13th place, which I think it's a great achievement for Patrick.
In Olympia, I make sure will be top 6.
His back is not really strong, otherwise he has size, shape and conditioning to do some real damage in the lineup.
I am the best.
The Slovakian mass monster Michal Krishu has made his debut in 2022 Mr. Olympia with solid 12th place.
I would like to place in the top 10.
He wanted to crack top 10 this year, and I think he was capable of taking even higher than 10th place, but his conditioning has to be improved. He has sheer amount of size, incredible symmetry, proportions and shape, which can surely put him in the first call out fighting with the frontrunners, but he needs to bring crisp, sharp conditioning with better presentation at the Olympia. But taking 12th place out of 28, one of the best bodybuilders on the planet, is surely a great result for Slovakian mass monster. Ian Vallier was at 7th place in last year Olympia, and this year he had himself moving up to crack top 6.
I'm not going to be 7th. I'm moving up this year. That's guaranteed.
But he dropped down to the 11th place. He was slightly better in his last show, Vancouver Pro. We can say he could not peak well this time, but if he could peak well, I think still his structure, his shape would keep him from defeating structurally superior bodybuilders. I personally had 12th place finisher Michal higher than Ian. Yes, undeniably he was not as sharp as Ian, but he was superior in almost each shot compared to Ian, and obviously conditioning is not everything. Symmetry, shape, aesthetics, proportions, balance and quality muscles matter as well. Brazilian sensation Rafael Brando has showcased a very imposing physique. His shape, his flow and his aesthetically gifted physique is very admirable. He has made drastic improvements in his back development, but his leg seems to me downsized this time, and overall he needs to add more mass in order to be the real threat for the title. But finishing at 10th place in his first Olympia is no doubt a great result. William Bonak was working this year with coach Chad Nichols, and he brought very outstanding package in Arnold Classic Ohio and Boston Pro. And he was very promising to bring his bigger and the best version on Olympia stage to dethrone the complete lineup. And interestingly, each expert in the bodybuilding community had him no lower than top 5. Even his coach Chad Nichols had him in top 2.
So obviously I've got my 2 guys first and second.
And undeniably he has improved his legs. He seems slightly bigger as well, but his conditioning was not on point, which I think he also knew it. He was very disappointed throughout the entire show, and he dropped down to the 9th place this time. Andrew Jack has taken an impressive 8th place in his first Olympia. Even arguably it was not the best Andrew we have seen on Olympia stage, but he still managed to beat 20 contestants with his very magnificent physique. In my opinion, his Texas Pro package was the best by far, but he was still very dominant in Olympia. He has very aesthetically pleasing physique, very beautiful muscle bellies, very wide and tall frame, and incredibly well-built abs development. But he needs to improve his hamstrings and glutes. Especially in side shots, his hamstrings don't have much details, and his slightly off conditioning forced him finishing behind Hunter Labrada. Hunter Labrada has arrived at 7th place. Undeniably, he has made some prominent improvements. Conditioning wise, he looks sharper than last year, and size wise he's improved as well, especially in back development. But he has been beaten by Samson Dauda this time. Like many fans, I also would like to see Andrew higher than Hunter, but as I said, he was very soft in glutes and hamstrings areas and he could not showcase much details there. Otherwise, Andrew is structurally very superior. So finally, Nigerian rising star Samson Dauda has made his debut on the Mr. Olympia stage with solid 6th place. He has the combination of everything. He has very aesthetically appealing physique, very narrow waist, and he is a lot bigger now as well. And I would like to call him aesthetically pleasing mass monster with very small midsection, which gives him a perfect X frame. I hope next year he comes a lot tighter and more conditioned, and he will be the real threat for the title.
If nothing goes wrong, I guarantee you this is going to be the best Remy ever.
2 times Olympia champ Big Remy came to defend his title, but shockingly he had to settle for 5th place only. I feel bad for Remy. He looked very confused and disappointed in the prejudging and finals. Obviously, he was expecting to win his 3rd Sandow trophy, but at the end judges dropped him down to the 5th place without giving him any proper chance throughout the entire callouts. And it looks like after his individual presentation on Friday, most likely it was already decided by judges that he was very far from winning the show. And personally, I was expecting significant improvements from Remy this year, as his trainer Dennis James kept saying it will be the best Remy in his all podcast this year, which must be a huge disappointment for fans including myself. Arguably, Big Remy has made improvements compared to his last year version in terms of size and conditioning, but somehow his shape was not better, and most likely the worst compared to all his Olympia shows in my opinion. Maybe it can be injury or something happened with him close to the contest, or it is because of age he's having muscle atrophy, as his shoulders, chest, his arms, even his forearms are really small compared to his previous year's performance. Especially this year, his left arm looked much smaller than the other. His back, his glutes and his legs are having issues as well. Maybe it because of damaged nerve or something, but we don't know. And I really hope Big Remy and his coach transparently explain what really happened with him.
His back is better, but it's, of course, you know, we what happened. There's some muscle that's atrophied.
Is it damaged though? Is it damaged?
I think Remy still deserved 1 or 2 spots higher than 5th place, as last year Remy also had similar issues, but judges still had him winning. Even Brandon, in my standpoint, was better last year than this year, but he was behind Big Remy. People are saying it's punishment because of his absence in Pittsburgh Pro, but all I can say, it's not really fair with Big Remy to give him almost no chance in all callouts. But Remy is not going to give up. He is coming next year to regain his title.
I will be back stronger than ever.
2019 Mr. Olympia Brandon Curry has arrived at 4th place. He was much improved from last year in size standpoint. He brought 16 pounds heavier package this year with incredible roundness and fullness throughout his physique.
And you're waking up at like 258 now? Yeah. But that's like 16 pounds?
And his legs look slightly bigger as well. But arguably his conditioning was not as impressive as other top 3 Olympians. Undeniably, he was one of the most aesthetically pleasing bodybuilders on stage, but it was not winning package. If he brought his 2020 Mr. Olympia sharp conditioning with this year's added size, he could win the show.
I'm going to win the Mr. Olympia.
The mass monster Nick Walker has moved up this year. I think it was his best package we have seen by far. He is very consistent, making significant improvements as much as he can. He is not gifted in shape and structure standpoint, so he has to rely mainly on his mass and conditioning. Some fans had him at 2nd place or even winning, but I think top 2 contestants had far more better structure, muscle quality and shape than Nick. He's one of the most exciting pro bodybuilders, and I think it's a great success for him beating 2 former Mr. Olympia winners. So the main standout of the show, Derek Lensford, has shocked the bodybuilding world by his incredible debut in Men's Open Olympia. I think he has everything: beautiful muscle bellies, shape, size and aesthetics with very small tiny waist, and his conditioning was very impressive as well. He's young and he has a lot of room to improve, and it will be interesting to see what Derek brings next year to dethrone the reigning champ Hadi Shupan.
And new Olympia Olympia champion, Hadi Shupan.
So the Iranian muscle freak, the Persian wolf Hadi Shupan, has finally won his first Miss Olympia title, and I honestly think he really deserved to win. He was the most shredded contestant on stage, and this year he has brought heavier package than his previous shows. In the comparison with Derek Lensford, both athletes have same height, similar structure, but Hadi was superior in muscle maturity with better chest development, and his conditioning was uncatchable. He had striations all over his physique with incredible fullness, which made him a clear winner. And realistically, his shoulders were looking a lot better this time compared to his last year when he was badly criticized by fans.
Hopefully he could just fix a couple of little things he has, like with his shoulders. And honestly, he's a threat for that title. He really is.
And especially this year, just before the Olympia, the head coach Steve Weinberger called him a serious threat for the title if he could fix his shoulders, which he really did, and now we have a new Olympia champion all the way from Iran. So congratulations to Hadi Shupan and his team for winning his first Olympia title and earning $400,000 prize money. So guys, check out Huge Supplements. They have amazing variety and especially very vast range of pre-workouts. And if you decide to buy, don't forget to use my code ZAM to get 10% off on everything. And this will surely support my channel and my work, so thanks for watching.